so I just wanted to get on here for a minute. As many of you know, my book came out, The Lady in the Colored Clocks. I'm currently holding the editor's edition because all my physical copies sold out, so I had to get more. But I had a lot of you ask me to do a recording of me reading the book. I will eventually be doing audiobook at some point, but I don't know when. But there were a couple of you that requested for me to read to you guys through video today. So I'm going to read the first chapter or so. We'll see, depending on time and stuff like that. So here we go, guys. The Lady in the Colored Clocks. Okay, so I'm going to read the dedication because in this book, each segment is very important to me. Each part means something, so it's not something that's easily skipped. So here we go. Dedication. A thanks to the greatest author of all, the one who wrote and writes our stories, the one who gave the inspiration behind this book. This is dedicated to those that have lost their wonder or imagination, whether young or old. To those who love to imagine, may you go deeper as you step into these words. May you have an adventure of your own, knowing there is a reality greater than what is known in the moment. May you find beauty and wonder in the simple and the significant. Table contents, yes. Get the book and you'll see what they are. This narrative takes place in Bath, England. The story is told by Jamie Brayman from The story is told by Jamie Brayman from the Diary of Her Heart. Chapter 1. Home. We stand in time because of the one who is outside of time. Springfield, Georgia, fall of 1996. Jamie, let's go. The movie's... Cut. Jamie, let's go. The movers are ready to leave. Okay, 1 second. I took one last look outside the big glass windows where my room of 14 years once was. So many memories. The 3-year-old drawings on the walls, the stains where the tea parties once were. So many moments of my life in this place. Actually, all of my life. But why now? Why would we leave at this time? Of course I knew why. But my heart is sad to leave this place I know so well. One day I shall return, but for now to England we go. I have to wonder what it would be like living in England. Springfield is such a small town with lots of farm animals. It is country at its fineness. Are they like that there? I wondered. What do they mean by city? I had only seen movies of big cities like New York and Los Angeles. We were never ones for traveling until now. A 2-hour drive to the airport and now a 15-hour flight. Go big or go home, I guess. If one were reading this, they could probably tell I wasn't as enthusiastic about moving. The only thing that I know is that my dad got transferred from his job to where we are going. Come to think of it, I'm not entirely sure what he will be doing at this new place, but whatever it was so important that we had to move. Home. What will that look like? We are 6 hours in, and I had to say, seeing the sky from this view is neat. How the cities look like ants. Maybe it won't be so huge after all. I began to doze off until the intercom came on. Buckle up, we are positioning for landing. We still had a 40-minute drive to do, and my brother was more awake than all of us combined. Mom, look, it's a giant clock. See the lights? These people, they look so different, and there are so many. It's all so different, even down to the streets. They were smaller than the ones in America. My brother was always one to have a huge sense of adventure along with his nerdiness. I suppose we adventure in different ways. Him in real life, and me inside my imagination. I guess I do travel places after all, when I think of it that way. I've never been one. I've always been different in that way. The oddball of the family. My family loves the outdoors, but I love books and the ordinary things that go unseen. The contrary to that is that I also love the peculiar things that stand out and have a culture of its own. I value creativity differently than most. No one has been able to attach me to a clique for that reason. I've always been a black and white rainbow kind of girl. I never liked the idea of being put in a box. I love that I get to be limitless in that sense. It was a long day of travel. We were all ready to get to our new place. Shortly after, Mom yells, "Alrighty, kiddos, home sweet home." I call the big room. "Oh, no, you don't, Jack. I am the oldest, so I get first pick." Suddenly, there is a knock at the door. I wonder how we already have visitors. We've only been here for a few minutes. "Jamie, could you get the door?" I ran to the door. "Hi." "Hello, dearest one. My name is Miss Lenora. I wanted to welcome you to our neighborhood with some curry. If you need anything at all, I am just a few doors down. You will find that we live in a fascinating place." She said this with a grin, as if to say something extra. I didn't put too much thought into it, though. It had already been a long day traveling and all. "I've never had curry before, so this will be interesting. Thank you." Mom took the curry from me and looked at Jack. "Jack, would you like to be the taste tester?" My brother loves to try new things. With this one, though, he didn't seem too thrilled, so I decided I would give it a try. I took my first bite. Not too bad, I thought. "What? You all look surprised. We're going all the way new, right?" I thought. I suppose. They had a right to be surprised. I never was one to try different foods or much of anything exotic. Exotic to me is anything outside of my norm. It was tasty, though. Yes. This is when 1 point for England in my book already. We finished up and Mom was ready to get things started. "Okay, well, now that dinner is taken care of, let's get some things sorted, Jamie. You get first pick." Now that we have been here for a moment, I began to realize how beautiful this place is. Everything about both the inside out is so intricate. Though it was too dark to fully see, I could tell that the garden surrounding the house was stunning. Apparently, it was a 2-story house built in the 1800s. The downstairs had a huge living room, and it branches off into the dining room and kitchen. Very similar to our old house, which I love. The upstairs has 4 bedrooms. Each room carries a different vibe. I walked into my room. I'll take this one." "Of course this room would be the one you choose," Jack responded. Jack was right. This room stood out for many reasons. One, that it had a natural reverb sound, in the colors of brown and green, and the very large windows that practically took up the whole corner of the bedroom. It reminded me of my own room, interestingly enough. Though when I thought it couldn't be better, I looked out the window. I could see many city lights surrounded by trees. You could even see the stars in the sky. We lived in our own area on the outskirts of this place called Bath. I could have stayed staring, imagining, but Mom had another idea in mind. "Okay, guys, time for bed. You can do the rest tomorrow. You need to get used to this new time zone thing before school starts next week." School. It all sounded great up until then. I wonder how my friends back home are. And this time zone thing. It's so weird we are a day ahead and that it is dark here while it is daytime where we used to live. I couldn't begin to sleep. Thoughts in my mind are swirling and my body is awake. I wonder how school will be, having to make new friends and all. Will they be nice? What will they think of me? Chapter 2. Elm Street Middle. The principal seemed overly excited about us coming to school. "Welcome to Elm Street High School. We are delighted to have you as a student here. You will find that this school is fascinating and like no other." Odd, I thought. She gave the same She gave the same grin that our neighbor gave when she gave Guys, this is fun. I'm probably going to include this too because, just so you know, humans do make mistakes. Odd, I thought. She gave the same grin that our neighbor gave when she said the word fascinating. High school, I said. I must be at the wrong school. The principal gave out a laugh as she responded. "No, dearie, we just call it high school here instead of middle school like you do over the pond." I began to think. Another England thing. Over the pond. Another way of saying America. I like it. "You will find that there are many different meanings for things here," she interjected. My mind ran wild. This school, it looks like a castle. Now that I think about it, the structures here are very royal and castle-like. I began to think more on it. I do love old buildings. They tell a story, the kind of history I'm interested in. They scream mystery and adventure. See you, Mom. Bye, Dad. We said our goodbyes as we stepped towards the castle, our new school. That could be a story, I thought. Once again, my brother was enthused. He began to speak to others as if he had known them for a lifetime. He is so outgoing for being a nerd. We both parted ways as we walked ahead. Though we were at the same school, we were in separate areas, with him being in 6th grade and me being in 8th. Good morning, class. We have a new student, Jamie Brayman, who happens to come from over the pond. Do well to welcome her. Today's main subject is math. One subject a day, I thought. So strange. Someone must have seen my perplexed face as they explained how each day went, they focus on a subject, as in math, English, science, social studies, and the arts, and gym. I'm Amelia, by the way. A new friend. Already. That's great. Nice to meet you. We are now a week into school, and I have to say it has been good, yet interesting. Just the other day, we were in PE learning the fundamentals of a basketball game. I've never been one to play sports. I am more of an artsy person. My brother, on the other hand, is great at sports. I was failing miserably when I finally made a shot. The coach was so excited as he let out the words, "Hey, Bob's your uncle." My face must have been easy to read because another one leaned over and said, "It means you finally got it." I'm Oliver, by the way. I have noticed this is how I made friends so far, as I venture to learn the terms used in England. Friends. I thought it would be hard to make friends, but many have been so welcoming. Our whole class is basically friends with each other. Speaking of classmates, even the names here are different. Some I've heard before, while others I haven't. There's Ava, Amelia, Charlotte, Poppy, Eva, Evie, Freya, Sophie, Ella, Lucy, Lily, and the list goes on for girls. Some of the guys, or blokes as they say here, are Harry, Charlie, Alfie, Oliver, Thomas, William, and so on. Oh, and my last thought about this place called school is that it does have a creepy mystery vibe to it. Just as the outside, the buildings tell a story on the inside as well. It feels like I've gotten to take a trip back in time. Some of the classes have old dim lighting and school tables from the 60s. It wasn't modernized at all, which I liked. Just as I've said before, I've never been one to just see and do things a certain way. I'm curious to see what more comes of living here. Lunchtime! What would you fancy, my dear? Fancy? What's so fancy about food? Oh, dearie, what would you like most to eat? Curry or pot roast? Even the food here is good, not like our school lunches in America. I'll go with the curry, thanks. Jamie, would you like to come sit with us? Sure. It was Amelia and Oliver. They have been awesome as friends, and it is only the beginning of being here. Oliver reminds me of my brother in many ways. He is sporty, nerdy, very enthusiastic, and factual. Amelia, however, reminded me of me. Interestingly, her sense for authenticity and wardrobe was very similar to mine. Most of the time when we are not wearing our uniforms, she would wear neutral colors with splashes of colors like me. She definitely was not the overly girly type, which I appreciated. I've always been more of a tomboy, as some would call it. My phone began to ring. Sweetie, are you home yet? Yes, Mom, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Could you take the pie I made to Lenora's? Sure. Okay, see you later. I hadn't gotten to meet any of the neighbors since we first got here. Besides, the one who brought us curry, I wonder what her place is like. We didn't get to talk much when we first met her. I hope she is nice. I haven't always been one to talk to strangers. Alright, and so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today, guys. So we got chapter 1 and 2 done of The Lady in the Colored Clocks. Stay tuned because it definitely gets even more interesting, and I'm super glad that some people made suggestions about reading this because it's actually pretty fun reading it out loud. Obviously, some of these people talk in British accents, which I can do, but I figured I will read it so everyone can clearly understand it. So, awesome!